Yes, this truly is a testament. Thank you for having me first. It is truly a testament of the deep relationship that South Africa and Tanzania has many, many years, since the 60s. And I think it has continued on through the various leaders that these countries have had. In fact, it is an operation that was perfectly almost executed, with almost very little information leaking out that could have affected the safety of the trio, Dr. Nandi as well as Thabo Bester himself, because of course there are powerful forces perhaps that might be implicated if they were to speak. So the big concern for Tanzanian police was after arresting them in Arusha on their way to Kenya, about 10 kilometers, they literally had, let's say, 10 minutes or 15 minutes of driving to make it to cross over to Kenya. After apprehending them over the weekend, they were concerned about, okay, now making sure that this high-risk convict or criminal is protected at all costs, so that they can be taken back to South Africa to face the justice. Now, that has been the focus. So with this, of course, for us in the news fraternity, is a bit challenging, because we were really almost stopped or blocked, let's say, from getting information, making sure that they didn't want anything to compromise the safety and to compromise the operation. We know that obviously commandos and special forces were part of the team to ensure that they transported the trio to the airport, in which they left late at night and arrived in SA, this morning. So it truly is a testament to the collaboration that the Tanzanian police have. As frustrating as maybe for the media world, the news world, but it was, I think, needed.
I think the frustration certainly has been to really follow the breadcrumbs of information around the process that the Tanzanian officials and South African officials are taking up. Now that they've landed in South Africa, Daniel, we know that Dr. Magudumana will be facing certain charges in court today. We know that the expectation is that Thabo Bester has to continue his sentence and perhaps even face even more charges for his escape. But are there charges or particular matters that the Tanzanian government in and of itself would want to flag, charges that they would want to raise against the two?
That's a very good question. It's important to note that the legal process that we speculate was used to ensure that they were taken would be deportation. There was a question, a legal debate between whether to use extradition or deportation to take back Thabo Bester. And I think deportation is the path that they went, because obviously it's easy to prove. He had various aliases, he had multiple unstamped passports with different names, and he was on the run from, obviously, authorities. So that's what we assume legally was done. Now, exactly if there were any crimes committed by the trio while in Tanzania, that is yet to be proven with the investigation. As it stands, we have not gotten any reports from the Tanzanian police or judicial system to push any of these indications of a crime. But we do know that deportation basically is, once they find out that you're in the country legally, you are sent back to the country of origin. And that's, I think, what has happened in this instance.
When they landed in South Africa at around 4 o'clock this morning, one cannot deny just how big of a convoy of law enforcement we saw moving these suspects from the Lanseria airport in Johannesburg. What would that physically have looked like when they left Tanzania?
Yeah, my contacts within the police force said that they were special forces, commandos, or police, special force police that were used to escort and transport, of course, these high-risk convicts, as we mentioned. The same is in South Africa. Now, I don't know the extent of the motorcade and exactly what technology, if there were choppers and everything like that, but I've been told that indeed there was a lot of high security, a lot of special forces that were used to ensure that nothing can get in the way. Because, again, like I touched on, South Africa and Tanzanians have a very deep relationship. In fact, across the continent, it is South Africans who are the highest number of tourists who come to Tanzania from the continent. So we were very familiar with each other. So it's very possible that Mr. Thabo Bester might have, developed a bit of Swahili and made some friendships that could, with the right amount of money, have complicated or compromised the transporting of him from Arusha to Dar es Salaam to SA. So indeed, it is something that was high security. The police made sure that they held everything under wrap, very tight-lipped, and indeed they were successful to make him, to protect him until he left Tanzania.
Yeah, what I'm curious about is that this story has massive attention here in South Africa. I mean, it's almost quite overwhelming just how much the story has overshadowed so many other issues that are taking place in the country. Is this story getting equal attention in Tanzania, media attention, particularly, Daniel?
I tell you, it is tough of movies. I mean, this is a series that you will not stop watching or keep binging on, because the digital media and the media in Tanzania have had a wild time with this one. In fact, just this morning, I saw a famous blogger posting the party that apparently Thabo Bester held, while still in prison. A lavish party. I'm sure maybe you might have seen that clip. Now, whether it's true or not, we don't know. But the reaction from the Tanzanian public, the comments, they were blown away. They have, in fact, I've been interacting with some of these young people. It's shocking to some of us that some young people see this as a Bonnie and Clyde story. They are lovers who, Dr. Nandipha is a true lover. There are some men who say, yeah, that's the kind of girl that you want. So it's really been received by mixed feeling. In fact, some young people hailing these couples as heroes of sorts. So they're drawn to certain facets of Dr. Nandipha's support of her supposed lover. So it has truly garnered a lot of attention and mixed feelings from the Tanzanian public, because again, I said South Africa and Tanzanians are very close.